Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Darshawn McAway. You're tuned in to WowPodcast. By all means, go to wowpodcast.me. That's WOWPODCAST.me. Now, today we have a special guest. She's written a book called Woman Cheater, Stepping Out of Hell in High Heels, Toxic Side Effects. Today she's going to talk to us about her latest book, Raw and Real. Welcome, Samantha Jackson.
Thank you.
So, tell me about Raw and Real. What is this book about?
Raw and Real is basically a book of telling you on how to live your best life through adversities in your life. We all go through a lot of situations in our life that causes us to kind of not want to go forward, and we kind of go backwards in a lot of situations in our life. So I talk about different issues that we may go through that's causing us to just want to just give up sometime, or either feel like you're not going forward in your life when dealing with your burdens in life and moving forward. Sometimes that can be difficult for a lot of people and painful, but as you sit back and see how you get through it all, you have to realize how to go about that and realize how you do it and be able to live your best life.
So what was that aha moment when you sat down to yourself and say, hey, people are going to receive this? What happened?
Well, I was sitting back and from my last book, Toxic Side Effects was my last book, and a lot of people was like, oh, we want you to do a part 2 to this book. This book was just awesome, and that book was talking about generational curses, and people said, well, you know, I see myself in that character. I see myself dealing with certain things. I become a certified life coach, and I'm like, okay. So people was very attracted to the Toxic book, and I just decided to come out with something to kind of offset that book because I wasn't ready to do part 2 to that book yet. So I came out with Raw and Real, How to Live Your Best Life, because I felt people are dealing with so much today, being in an unhappy place. A lot of people dealing with suicidal mindsets, divorce and family resentment, even being accepted in certain instances, and also embracing baggage, dealing with stuff that they've lived in the past and bring it into your future situations. They were dealing with abuse. They were dealing with depression. And I wanted to talk about it and talk about the forgiveness behind it all in order to move forward.
So what have some of the people been saying about it now? Like, what have your reviews been lately?
Well, it's been great. I thank people who have been doing reviews on Amazon and my website, and everybody's saying that this book makes them want to move forward. This book make them want to live their best life. I've had people inboxing me on social media telling me, I got your book. It was awesome. You know, it seemed like that certain chapters are talking to me, and I just feel like after reading it, I could move forward.
So would this book be helpful for some men to pick up, or is it really just catered towards women?
It's catered toward men and women. The few characters in the book are men as well, because all of my books, I don't write for women, men. I write for everybody. So any book that I put out, even with characters in it, I always try to make it a two-sided thing, because everything is two-sided, men and women. It's not just women going through stuff. It's not just men going through stuff. It's all of us going through stuff. So I do have characters in the book of men dealing with adversities as well.
So I want to go back just on a couple of books, just based off of their titles. Woman Cheater, what is that book about? It seems like it's extremely interesting. What is Woman Cheater about?
So with Woman Cheater, what made me write the book first, Michael Basin came out with What Men Won't Tell You. Mm-hmm. And I was at a conference that he was at, and he was talking about his book and talking about how men do women. And I stood up and said, we were talking, and I said, well, women do it better. And he was like, but women won't tell their truth. And I said, well, I'm going to tell my truth. He said, well, if you write a book about it, it's going to go a long way. And it did. He promoted it on his show. A lot of people promoted it on this show. And basically, it's women cheating. I took up for men a lot of feedback was good feedback and bad feedback. A lot of women felt like I was bashing women in this book, which I wasn't. I was just telling our truth because we have our side too. And so many times in relationships, we always look at the man and never look at the woman. We always look at what they do, but we don't want to look at ourselves. So when I came out with this book, I wanted to talk about the woman's side and the things, the let women see they need to look at themselves sometimes. Because a man, first thing they learn to love is their mama. So they learn to love a woman. But a lot of things we do, not saying men don't do it too, but a lot of things we do affect a lot of men in the relationships. So that's basically what this book is about. Also talking about, you know, we women cheating ourselves out of a lot of situations. So I talk about the baby mama drama. I talk about the infidelity in marriages. I talk about the home wreck. I even talk about the down low girl who don't know which side of the boat she want to float on. So the woman cheater just wraps all of that up in one. And it's been one of my great sellers, but a lot of men bought this book because they were like, finally somebody to write a book that ain't dragging a man all the time.
You're right. I like it. I love the title. It seems like it's pretty self-explanatory. So with your book, Stepping Out of Hell in High Heels, is that book about somebody finding their spirituality, or is it something else?
It's something else.
Okay.
So at the time when I actually started writing Stepping Out of Hell with High Heels on, that time I was single myself, and being a new Christian at the time, it was hard for me to date in the Christian realm. And after talking to a lot of men and women, they talked about, like, you know, just because I'm saved or I'm in a church, the dating is horrible. So I just decided to take a couple of characters and come up with an outline to talk about dating, period, and the types of dating and the things that single women and men go through during dating, but also the hard part and the good part to it. But then some people go through, you know, real bad stuff like internet dating. I talk about that. I talk about one of the characters that she realizes that she's been living in hell all her life, dating different people, and even how you continue to date the same type of person even though they're different, because it's something that you need to change within yourself. So that's what that book is about, basically dating and dealing with the type of things that people go through dating. I talk about a male in this book who's, you know, he's a good man. He's one of the good ones, but the kind of women that he's dealing with over and over again and can't find the right type of woman that he's looking for. So it's like he's stepping out of hell with high heels on.
I got you. I love it. I'm so extremely excited about all these books because they seem very interesting. Raw and Real seems very on point. I did notice that there are some characters throughout the book that I feel like a lot of people will gravitate to because you're speaking from real situations. So let's tell everybody where they could find you and, you know, buy your books and reach out to you on social media.
Okay, well, you can reach me at www.authorsamanthaj.com. All of my books are there except for The Woman Cheater. Woman Cheater could be found on Amazon, but all of my other books can be found on even Toxic Side Effects, which is another book that I have. All of those could be found on www.authorsamanthaj.com or Amazon or Books A Million or Barnes & Noble. You can reach out to me on Facebook under author Samantha Jackson, and I also have an author's page. Samantha Joyner is my author's page. I'm on Instagram at JYNRSam, and I normally accept everybody and anybody because, you know, I have a lot of followers. So if you want to follow me, you can follow me on my author's page at Samantha Joyner as well.
Awesome. Well, you're listening to WowPodcast. I'm your host, Darshawn McAway. We're speaking to author Samantha Jackson. She's written the book Raw and Real. This is a must-go pick up and read book. Thank you for coming on to the podcast. I really appreciate you so much.
All right, and thank you for having me on the show.
No problem.